I'm excited, actually.
Hey y'all, hey, it's another episode of Bonafide Podcast featuring the one and only Cam Scott.
Woo!
I had to hype it up. I had to bring the emphasis, let the, be like, look, I'm hyping all the guests up. I got to hype everybody up. Like, look, this is how appreciated you guys are. Boom.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
How you doing today?
I am doing well. I cannot complain. Cannot complain. Doing well. Feeling blessed.
Amen, amen, amen. So let's get to it. So, Cam, can you tell us your sports story to how you got to where you are?
Yes. So I played. I've been playing basketball for pretty much my entire life. I was a three sport athlete up until sophomore year in high school, and then I decided to go all in basketball. I figured, being 6'5", 6'6", I wasn't gonna be a tight end. I wasn't gonna run track. So I was like, all right, basketball is probably my ticket. Played for a while at like high school, and then I decided to play at Xavier University of Louisiana in New Orleans. It was one of my offers, and I it was a school that at the time, a lot of stuff in the political climate and um, activism was kind of going on. So I felt really called to um, go to my HBCU, support my HBCU, and I played there for about a year, and I was juggling my business and playing at the same time. So I was like, all right, it's time to make another hard decision. And then that's when I decided to walk away from playing in college and focus and go all in on my business.
You was at XULA?
Yes, yes, I was.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
I was in the Bayou.
In the Bayou.
In the Bayou.
And that's in the, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that's in the SWAC, correct?
And no, it is actually I don't know. I forgot. Um, but no, I know it's NAIA. I'm not. I forgot what conference we played in, but
But hey, it's like I'm here for the HBCUs
there
because
we go.
I'm here
There
for.
we go.
So my question for you was, what would during your time at XULA, what would you say were some of the things that you took from learning, like from being there, but also what would you say are some of the misconceptions of HBCU competition?
So I would say the biggest, obviously my time was kind of interesting. It was a lot of hard lessons, but I think that the biggest thing I would take from it is like your personal discipline and you personally being able to guide yourself and know exactly what your goal is out of it and not come. I came into it very blind and kind of just let things happen. And when you get pushed by the wind, you get pushed by the wind, and I wasn't always pushed by the wind in the right direction. So that was probably the biggest thing I took from it. But honestly, the misconception I would address is like, man, there's talent at every level. Like I don't want people to kind of there's talent on every level. I was playing extremely high level high school basketball in Georgia, playing against NBA guys now that were at these schools, and we're playing them in the Final Four and playing them in the Elite Eight. And I thought coming from that, it was like, okay, I should be pretty decent. I mean, these guys are Alabama basketball is nowhere near Georgia basketball, so I'm like, all right, I should be all right. I should be okay. Um, Came in there, and it was a rude awakening. It was like, all right, you're still playing against grown men that do this for a living. You're still playing, you know what I mean? So it was like there's talent at every level, and especially at the HBCUs. I mean, it's extremely extreme. We had like 5 or 6 players go pro on my freshman year. We had like 8 seniors, so there was a lot of players on that roster that ended up playing overseas. So it was talent, extremely talented.
For sure, because so where I stay at, we have the CIAA. So it's like
Mm,
the biggest, one of the biggest. Like, I mean, a lot of it is D2, but it's like if you hear CIAA, a lot of people would think of like say Winston-Salem State or um, basically that, or the other ones like JCSU, Claflin. So it's like it's huge.
Yeah.
So like the
Yeah.
scene, there's so many. I would say there's so many like dogs in the HBCUs that play there. Like the competition is real, it's high, and I think to me, I think from just the outside looking into, from like the standpoint of say March Madness, they always like to place like the HBCU schools in like the 16th seed or the 11th seed where they have to fight for their place to like the first four out.
Yeah.
So, and I
No,
always
yeah.
wondered, and I've always wondered, is like, why couldn't they just play somewhere they can be able to play like right away when the competition starts instead of like the first four out? So,
Yeah, yeah. And I think part of it is when we have really good guys that will come in and I think the important thing is making sure they stay at the HBCU and they don't try to transfer to a bigger school or a different school or a school in a different market, but try to, if it's, especially if it's homegrown. I mean, we had a lot of players that were from New Orleans or from, Shreveport or from, New or Louisiana. So for them, it was important to stay at least close to home. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big thing. Is if we could do that, then the HBCUs will kind of sneak in there. You saw it last year with Alabama State and my dude Amar Knox at Alabama State. He ended up transferring too. So it was like, if we could keep people in the HBCUs and continue helping them, thrive, then I think that's definitely where you'll see the change.
oh yeah, that was a crazy play
It
too.
was, it was.
I was,
My guy's a hooper for sure.
then I think Southern University for the women's also upset
Yeah,
somebody. So I was like, oh, yay.
yeah.
It's like both teams from the SWAC league, but still like representing just yes, I'm here for it. It's like just they putting HBCUs on the map.
Got to, got to.
So
Love it.
I remember I just realized it's like you from Georgia because I was like, oh, the area code. It's like, oh, Georgia, Georgia. So my question for you is, um, Georgia, the state of Georgia has like rich history when it comes to like football and basketball. What for you? What does Georgia, the state of Georgia, for sports for you mean to you?
Well, I mean, it's hands down. Actually, I know a lot of states and a lot of people would debate with me, but I mean, in terms of basketball, we're second to none. The only people that are competing with us is California and New York and Texas and really, if you look at the size of the state, like if we had as big as a state as Texas or California, we would have a lot more talent to pull from. But I mean, we can look at the guys that are thriving in the league and are also getting to that next level. I mean, we got Anthony Edwards, we got Jalen Brown, we got the rookie of the year last year. I forgot his name, but
Stephon
we still,
Castle?
yes, exactly. So Stephon Castle, we got so many guys that are just amazing. And then on the football side, I mean, we produce so many defensive linemen, defensive ends, or defensive linemen and offensive linemen, and then just talent all around. Like Dobbs, the Downs brothers, both came from Atlanta. And, it's just talent. Like we just produce league guys.
I'm so glad you mentioned Jalen Brown because I'm a Jalen Brown person. I am a Celtics person, but something about Jalen Brown, it's like he's
He's
one
that
of those.
guy.
He is. I feel like for me, like he's the epitome of what it means to be more than an athlete, using your
Yeah,
platform to do something both on and off the court, something that's, and he also, I mean, you were just talking about, we were just talking, listening about it. 2020 was a crazy year, a lot of protests. He actually led a protest in
mhm.
his home state. So, like, do you hope to see more like athletes, whether they're college or professional, use their platform to do what, say, a Jalen Brown or a Kyrie Irving is doing?
I, I don't actually. I don't hope. I pray and I need to see it happen because, and that's the reason why I do what I do, and I'm building what I build because the importance that an athlete can see themselves as more than an athlete that's when the world changes, and a lot of things change, specifically, especially for the black community. I think that we have a lot of times we fall into this basketball is our only ticket. And I felt like, especially with my story, being able to speak to choosing to pursue a business over basketball, it speaks a lot to my acumen and my ability to make things happen outside of dribbling a ball or catching a football or dunking or anything like that. I can still dunk, but I can also still balance a balance sheet. So it's important on both sides. But I 110%, I hope really that, especially looking at Jalen Brown. I mean, this is people are always surprised when they realize how smart Jalen Brown is. I'm like, this dude went to Cal, studied business at Cal. He's a really really smart dude.
Like it's one of those things like, you know, if you know about Jalen Brown, you know, like he went to Cal, did like master's classes, like classes
Yeah,
that's like graduate classes. Like why are you surprised he's smart? Like this, is there like a prototype that someone has to look or be smart? Like, and then
yeah,
like the fact that like the whole, you know, the drafting process where everybody turned him down except for Boston, where oh because he's too smart.
yeah.
Like what's that supposed to mean? Like can he not have say hobbies or be able to like what is it? It's like what's going on? So
Yeah,
I think it's interesting though the way he just how he moves, but also he utilized that platform, and he's one of the vice presidents for the Players Association.
yeah,
So that's always like the icing on the cake. Like, you know, he ain't just gonna talk about it; he gonna walk the walk with it.
yeah,
So
yeah. One of my role models for sure.
hey, you can't go wrong with that. So, but my question for you is, if this leads to it, you know, you exemplify, you know, with being more than an athlete, with the creation of athletic. Oh gosh, have mercy. With the creator, with the you being the creator and founder. This is my little blooper moment. So forgive me, please,
Oh
guys.
good,
This
oh
is
good.
this podcast is raw and real. I have bloopers. So,
There we
um,
go.
with the creation of Athlete Creator Lab, what inspired you to create that?
Yeah. What really inspired me to create Athlete Career Lab was obviously me making that decision to walk away, and trying to juggle both. I don't think that I don't think college, especially being a student athlete, is conducive to wanting to do anything outside of your sport. I mean, you have coaches that tell you put down that camera in the locker room. You have coaches that tell you to put down the camera in the weight room. You have, um, my personal experience. They were clowning me for wanting to have a business while I was playing, and they called me businessman Cam all the time. So it was like I creating a community where people can actually strive for things outside of their sport and not be tied down to, I just need to focus on academics, I just need to focus on dribbling this ball. Like, it's at the end of the day, you have to set yourself up. And especially now, looking at the economy, looking at the graduation rates from my generation that's coming in, we can't get jobs. And it's not that we can't get jobs because there's not jobs available. We can't get jobs because we're not talented, we're not skilled. So you got people that are using AI to pass essays and doing things like that, so they're not getting real world experience. But you being able to, let's say, invest in your NIL, and you grow your NIL, you learn how to create content, you learn how to read analytics, you learn how to create strategy. In our community, obviously, we're teaching digital products. You learn a lot about business, a lot about the psychology of why people buy and why people don't buy. So you're learning a lot outside of what they would teach you in school. And that's what really encouraged me to start the Athlete Creator Lab, because it was, I mean, I I've done a lot before graduating, and I want everybody else who's able to be in this community and be in this circle is to do the same. So that's the goal with it for sure.
Man, because like the way you like from seeing your content is very like I was like, dang, like why? Where was this at? And then I was like, realized like we didn't have NIL when I was there in college. So it's like, but the way you information about it, I'm like, this is really, yeah. I'm like, I'm learning about this. Like, I remember the whole like, I remember you did a couple of them, and it was dealt with like, say, the House versus the NCAA. It dealt with like the administration trying to take away the NIL or trying to get their hands on it, and it's like, no, like just because like y'all got so much money already and y'all fake and y'all not using what it's supposed to be. Let the college athletes that are doing their job, that they've been doing their job all their life,
Yep.
let them keep their coins. Don't touch it. Don't. I'm like, yes, like let them know because it's just I just find it's because I just always wonder like why do they try to say that college athletes what they're doing is not a job versus say and give an example. So you know how like say transferring or leaving a college, right? You know, there's a whole debate about it.
Yeah.
Like say if a college coach leaves, you know, he's able to leave at any time because he got a new job. But say like a college athlete, they want to transfer, but they have to wait until the season between like there's like a double standard between those two.
That's a really good question. I think that there's multiple levels to it. I think that the because I do agree with the transfer portal, and I think that it needs to be regulated and there's rules. And the only reason I say that is because a lot of athletes and a lot of just like people in general that are age 18 to 24, like they're not fully, their mind's not fully developed, so they don't know how to prioritize things. You know, a coach isn't going to leave for no good reason. Right now, if they, like you said, they do get a better job, that's understandable. I would leave a university to go to a larger university too. So that's where I think that there is a discrepancy. But when you have athletes that are face some adversity and it's like, I don't, my coach doesn't like me, I'm going. It's like I've never met a coach that doesn't want to win games. So if you're genuinely like the best player, the best option to put out there, 9 times out of 10, he's actually going to put you on the floor or on the field. So I want people to look at themselves before they hop in the transfer portal and do that because I mean you can go to 5. I know so many athletes I play with personally that have been to 5 different schools, and it's like at some point the problem has to be you. So stay put and try to build on it and work through it. But yeah, it's funny to see 100%. I do think there's some discrepancies.
And it just leads to my questions too, like when it comes to the NIL, like what would you say are some of the misconceptions about NIL that a lot of people don't really like? This you shouldn't believe this, but it's totally different.
Yeah. I one thing I always say is there's a huge difference between like you actually getting paid to play and then NIL. All right, so like the line of that is like it's blurred to me in the industry because for an athlete to think like I mean you have 5 years max now in college. So if you're the best player, you're getting a few mil, all right. But if you're not, you're getting 100,000, 200,000, 500,000. And the truth is that's not a lot of money. Like the truth is that's not a lot of money. You can build from that, but it's not a lot of money to sustain another 60 years, right? So having a plan and understanding that NIL simply just means that you are now able to get paid for activity that you do for your name, your face, and what you've built around that last name. So simply put, like it's like, all right, you can start that business, you can grow those deals, you can, you can create that content, start that clothing brand, whatever it is, that's NIL. It's not, just you being able to get paid from the school to play.
Would you say content creation is the number one thing that has helped NIL in college athletes?
1,000%, because that's, I mean, like the highest grossing athlete was a gymnast, a non-revenue sport that rarely gets televised. So my question to every other athlete is like, what's your excuse? if Livy Dunn can do it, what's your excuse? You know?
Because first of all, she's a sweet person. I'm gonna say this: Livy Dunn is probably one of the nicest people, and I know a lot of people be like, I'm like, you met
It seemed like it.
She is. She's such a sweetheart, and I got a chance to meet her at AthleteCon, which you need to go. Which you gotta go. You gotta go. I'm telling you. And it's just like you hear a lot of like. I just think when you hear a lot of these people's stories about how they generated, how they grew with the NIL and just help, I'm just like, yo, this is like. Not to mention, you said gymnastics is like a non-revenue sport, and how like that one athlete from a non-revenue generating sport making millions and millions of dollars and have like a whole following is like, and you're like, what's your excuse?
What's your excuse?
If she can do it, and she was on Sports Illustrated covers, which is like, it was like, what's your excuse?
Yep.
So my question for you is, I know some athletes that may be camera shy or don't like to talk to the camera. What advice would you give to them, especially when it comes to content creation for NIL? What advice would you give to them where they want to get into it, but they're very camera shy? What advice would you give to them?
Yeah, so the funny thing is, actually, I know you did an episode with Denzel. So this is something I always clown him about. But when I started this community like a year and a half ago, and I was cold DMing athletes and saying, "Hey, look, I just started something. Hopefully you get some value from it. Hop in. It'll help you it helps show you how to make money, how to grow your following, whatever." So he was one of the first athletes I reached out to. Obviously, he was at Coastal Carolina, but he had so many aspirations to be successful. But one of the biggest hurdles was I don't like to show my face. I don't like to record content. And I'm like, to me, I'm like, dude, no. First of all, the people that are with you now, you're not going to know in 5 years. I was like, that's the truth. And then also, why do you care? Like, none of them are paying your bills. So if someone's writing you a check, then that's when you kind of got to understand where they're coming from. But with him, it was like I was clawing, scratching. So I honestly, learning from the experience of working with him, I would say for an athlete that is afraid to show their face, start with faceless content. Like he was doing a lot of 7-second short B-roll reels, and it was something where it was, him maybe shooting in the gym, and it was literally his back, like literally the back of him is just shooting the gym, and he would just throw music and throw an overlay on there that spoke to his message, and you build from there. And then he started making day in the lives that he would stitch together, whole day in the lives, and he wouldn't talk in it, but he would be in it. And now he's obviously hopping on podcasts. Now he's talking. Now he's creating talking head videos. So it's a jump, but you start to build that momentum as a creator and as an athlete, and it's a snowball effect that eventually, when if you stay consistent in it, you'll break the barrier of, I don't want to show my face, I don't want to be on camera or whatever, but Bill's got to get paid at the end of the day. So
it's funny because like he said, this was me 5 months ago. I didn't want to show my face. I was like, because I was like, his creations are amazing. Like, but then I remember giving some advice to some of the athletes. They're like, I don't know what to say on the camera. I'm like, you could just stand there, do some type of motion, and just record yourself in narration mode, and like describe your day. Like I've done where, say, I'm gonna give example. Unboxing videos, very popular when it comes to brands. Where I could just be opening the box or whatever, just wave, and then finished it, and then just record like I gotta unboxing that unboxing video, like like you get the thing, like the whole basically like you see the reaction and stuff, like, and I'll just be I don't want to say loud with it, but I be emphasizing it, like,
Got to.
because you basically it's like I don't want to say you selling your stuff, but it's like you're showing like this is how real it is, but also like you helping like both you and the brand, like, hey, just because I seen this brand because I saw this person promote it, so I gotta go get it.
Yeah.
So
And you're absolutely right. And one thing I always speak to is like they want the things that make you grow or the sides that you least want to show. 100%. I mean that like Kai, Kai Cenat, one of the biggest streamers. He always says when people ask him, well, what was the turning point for you? He always references that rat that ran under him while he was streaming in his house in the Bronx. And it's like that's one of those things where if anybody was in that situation, they would prefer that rat not be on camera. But that was literally, he says all the time, that's his turning point to where he's at now. Because if that he went viral right after that, so it wasn't like wow the world labeled him as dirty or whatever. It was okay. This guy's funny to watch. I'm gonna enjoy his content because it's raw, it's real, and it's authentic.
I would, yeah, that would be my turn. Like if I saw a rat come, I would just line on my chair, just I don't like rats in people, but rats in general, like I don't like that. I don't like snakes. I don't like spiders. If I see any of that, like y'all can stay over there. I just need like if you ever see something that was like something that you're fearful of or something that's like you're like if I see any of them, it's like this is your area. I'm good. I could just go to another area, another space. This is yours. This is all you right there.
I can't. I'm good on all of the creatures. If it's not a dog, I don't want him.
Not even a cat.
I'm warming up the cats. I promise I'm warming up the cats.
Cats just lay there at times. They just mind their business.
That's what scares me is that they're very stealthy. Like you won't see a cat all day and they'll just pop up on your shoulder. It freaks me out a little bit, but I'm warming up.
But dogs be. I will say I ain't gonna lie. I didn't realize how there's dogs. I didn't realize they could sniff out things when it comes to your health. I'm like, wait a minute, this is real.
That's cool.
Like, man. But my question for you is, when it, I see you advocate for women's sports, especially like seeing a lot of the female athletes that I know that joined the Athlete Creative Lab. What inspired you to advocate for women's sports?
Well, actually, like I don't think that it's like I don't even feel like that's a question that needs to be asked. You know what I mean? But to answer that question is like, I honestly I fell in love with that moment that everybody else fell in love with in the basketball side with women's college basketball, and it was that Juju and Caitlin Clark series, and their rivalry or whatever you want to call it. They started to build, and from that point on, I was just, and honestly, my thoughts too is like looking back at this March Madness, the guys' side was weak. Other than the Alabama State game with some buzzer beaters, the guys' side was weak. The competition is too wide, and the games aren't as good anymore, in my opinion. But with the women's side, I mean, once they got to top 8, like Elite 8, Sweet 16, I mean, it was good. Like you had Iowa State, you had a bunch of teams in there that had really amazing, talented young ladies, and I mean, they were just going toe for toe. So a lot of it is, I think that the thing is, and what people need to start realizing is the things that, and I feel like this is across industries too, is like the things that you put money into will improve, will grow, and will become more so like the focus, right? And the reason I say that is because I mean you see it in rap music, like people don't it's the most streamed and pushed albums. Like the album might not even be good, but they're playing it over and over or it's going viral on TikTok, and it's just like, okay, now it's all right. Investing in a track and field, they're investing in volleyball. I mean, they're expanding to professional leagues in the U.S. with volleyball. They obviously Unrivaled is giving much needed competition to the WNBA, who, in my opinion, is managed terribly. But there's so many layers and investments that are happening in women's sports, and you'd be honestly, to anybody, it'd be stupid to not pay attention to it and not show it appreciation, because at the end of the day, if you're a real basketball guy, you like women's basketball. You're okay with watching women's basketball. You love watching women's basketball because it's basketball. There's no difference. So for me, I love it. I love the investment that they're spending in it. It's growing, and it's amazing to see, honestly.
For sure. It's crazy because it's like, you know, what the WNBA is, I don't know, like I to me, the first season of Rival to me was so much way better than this season's WNBA.
I agree.
In the aspect of how you didn't have a lot of drama with the Unrivaled. You didn't have a lot of like a certain fan base drama where you didn't you didn't hear like a lot of players are being like say threatened or receiving crazy messages. In the WNBA, like in ways like yes, it continues to grow with a bunch of names and everything. Like people want to watch it, but then you have like say certain talking heads that feel the need to say they want if their favorite player is this, they always have to try to downplay or talk down on other players to make that player look. It's like you're not doing yourself justice if you're doing this. So, but I mean, and then also like the Players Association, I will say what the WNBA with the Players Association, they do an amazing job is I feel like they're one of the first people to promote social justice, to actually talk about it, be about it. Like my favorite player of all time is Maya Moore, and she is a Georgia person. She is Georgia, so coming from Georgia, she
Yeah,
so so if you know about Maya Moore's story, you know, but you got to if you don't, you got to read it. You got to know she's a winner both on and off court. Um, but
yes,
yeah.
that's what.
So
Yeah,
I agree with you. Like if you if you love basketball, you know hoops, you know women's sports, women hoops. It's not gonna bother you. It's there. It's the if you love the essence of the game,
yeah,
you know it's real competition.
exactly.
Because I ain't gonna lie, there was times I had to ask a couple guys, like, can you name 5 WNBA players besides Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark? Can you name 5 of them? And it was like, because I've had people try to just ask me, can you name 5 players in the NBA? I'm like, why are you asking me? And I play. Like, I'm gonna reverse Uno on this. So,
Yeah, you got to.
because y'all not gonna do this to me.
Mm-mm.
So my question for you is, I always say that athletes are humans first.
Mm.
So my question for you is, as an athlete and a black man, how important is mental health?
Ooh, Ashley, I'm. Denzel was the person to talk to about mental health. It's not that I don't think it's a important aspect, and I do think that, especially being a black man, that we don't. There's levels to what we process and what we can endure, and I don't think that it's. I'll say it this way: like, it's not that I don't think it's important, but I also try to look back at my ancestors as a black man and what they've been through. All right. So, like, my dad being the first black man in his family to be educated and post grad education with an MBA. All right. So his journey is a lot harder than mine. And then my grandfather, being one of the most intelligent men I've ever met, but wasn't given opportunities in radio and technology to pursue those things. I got it a lot easier than that, and then so on and so forth. So it's like, for me, I don't. I got my own set of problems and I got my own set of worries. Don't get me wrong, and life gets heavy sometimes. but it's also good to put things in retrospect sometimes. And I mean, I get to sit on podcasts like this and talk, and this is my job. You know what I mean? So it's like how pay attention to your mental health and make sure that you and I'm not a proponent of balance either. I'm gonna be honest. Like I do think that I'm 22 years old. There's no such thing for me as balance. I wake up and I have energy, so you put it towards something, right? But I do think that, like you said, it is important, and it is important to talk to people. And if you're going through things, share with people, reach out to people, connect, and that's what we're lacking is a human connection, right? And getting back to human connection and brotherhood and sisterhood and being able to lean on others is what we need more of. But I don't like to hold on to the stigma of mental health, because I do think that there's solutions outside of, okay, you might have depression, or okay, you might have anxiety. Like let's get to the root, you know. So it's kind of my take on it.
You're like, it's I'm here for it though. It's like at least you're honest about it, because like it's at times it's one of those things. It's like how do you give a great answer when it's like it's big? Like yes, it's big, but it's like how do I give it to where like I don't like it's big, but it's like it doesn't really in ways. Correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't like really affect me. Like I don't really talk about it a lot, but I know it's big and it's important. So it's like I see the honesty right there. That's like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, okay.
And
But
I feel like, I mean, I can't name a human alive that hasn't suffered, actually, like hasn't gone through things or hasn't felt pain, or so it's like, who am I to not want to suffer or not be able to endure the suffering? It's part of life, right? But at the end of the day, you endure it. Everybody has to. So being able to not label that, but just understand, okay, I gotta go through this. This is just the point of life I'm at right now. This is what the cards that I was dealt. Whether you believe in higher power or not, it's like, okay, this is what I've been faced with, and what am I gonna do with it?
absolutely. And this leads to my question. So I always say that representation matters. It can mean like say someone look up to you because, you know, you provide inspiration for them, or you look up to someone because your story is similar to theirs. So how important is representation?
Uh Man, that's a loaded question. I that is an extremely loaded question. Representation, especially carrying on from the point of being a young black man, is is important, because what you see, what you can see is what you believe is possible, and that's the truth of it. So I whether you agree, whether people agree with Obama, being a good president or not, it for me, it wasn't about that. For me, it was about the young boys and girls that can see someone who looks like them in that seat. And that to me is why representation is important, because if I can see now it's been done, I can do it again. And for me, that's why it's important. And that's why, I was just having a conversation with my founders, my co-founders, about this the other day. Is like, um you know a lot of people look up to Jay-Z. A lot of people look up to, LeBron James, or all these athletes. I look up to Robert Smith. I look up to guys that did it without the sports, that look like me. All right. So representation, and this dude's a billionaire and didn't do it with dribbling, or singing, or you know drugs. In our case, it's like, he did it genuinely by working hard and being intelligent, and having that representation shows me that it's possible and allows me to continue going. So representation is huge. Ashley, you hit that on the nail for sure.
I I'm gonna be straight shooting with the questions. I'm just letting you
Yeah,
know.
I love it.
So the reason why I say that, because like I always say representation matters, and I have told some of these guests, like for me growing up, I didn't have that type of representation. I didn't see like, and I'm not talking about from like a white woman perspective. I'm talking about like, say, I didn't see somebody that was on the autism spectrum that's doing something that I'm doing. I didn't growing up didn't see that. If that happened, I didn't see it. But it's like I'm gonna just carve my own legacy, carve my own path, and hopefully it gives some type of inspiration to somebody. Like, look, if she could do it, I could do it. Like,
Yeah,
regardless if she may be on the spectrum or if she because she loves because I love what I do and do what I love. And the what's it called, like the aftermath of it, like the rewards of it, it's gonna come and right after that. I already know it. It may be a struggle at times, but I know you know from certain outcomes, I've seen those blessings because like you gotta love what you do and do what you love to really understand, like, hey, those blessings is gonna come if you continue to do it, and you just gotta continue to do it. Like if you're really passionate about it, the like I said, the rewards of it is gonna come after.
100%, 100%. You're a trailblazer, Ashley. 100%. You got to keep going because I know that there are people watching you that wish they had you. Um, you know, and so you're definitely trailblazing as a role model for sure.
So okay, I might cry later on after that. Like I might cry. It's like sucker. I do my best, but
Good.
I just want to say shout out to you, sir, because I love what you are doing with Athlete Creator Lab, and what you're doing is like you setting the tone where, like, just like, dang, I may not be like a college athlete, but I'm still learning something new. But I'm like,
Appreciate it.
cause like knowledge is power, y'all.
Yeah,
Knowledge is power. So I'm just saying,
100%.
like,
You
continue
got
what
to.
you're doing, sir, and I'm just very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're trying. We're trying to build. We're trying to build something amazing.
Well, if you wake up, I would say each day you wake up, you already won the day. So you still building when you
There you
wake up.
go. There you go. That's added. That's added benefit after waking up.
Period. So my question for you is, what phrase or word would you say to describe your journey so far?
Mm,
It's a loaded question, ain't it?
it is. It is. I would say. Mm, man. I would say. I would just say. I don't want to just say persistence or perseverance because like I said I feel like I'm extremely fortunate, but I know that you know everybody has their own struggles. But honestly, I would say honestly, if I had to say a phrase, it's not what it seems. Like I think that would be the phrase. I would choose. I think throughout my life, I've had moments where I wanted something so bad, and one of the questions I've always like juggled with or struggled with is, um, how do you know if something's a dead end or is adversity because it looks the same, and a time where I was deciding to make that decision to walk away from basketball was one of those moments where it was like, all right, is this God testing me and saying, get through this and there's more on the other side for you in this sport, or is this God saying, look, hang it up, I got more for you. All right, so it's one of those things. So I think I would say it's not what it seems, honestly. I think that I put a lot of pressure on myself specifically to be a certain hold myself to a certain standard, and sometimes you can keep knocking at a wall and it just never opens. So it's important to kind of always be conscious of the direction that you're going and wanting to go. And I think that I've done that, the last couple years, but we'll hopefully continue to do it.
Hey, I like that. It's not what it seems. It's like it's not what it seems.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Actually, that was a really good question.
It's like it's not what because it reminds me of like how like they say salt and sugar. You gotta they both look the same, so it's
Yep,
like you gotta be careful because it's not what. Oh, that makes sense.
yep.
That makes sense what you said. Okay, drop mic with the bars, the bars. So so bona fide means authentic and unique, and I always ask my guests this question. But for the men, it's authenticity. Oh gosh, if I said that right, bless it, because ooh, yeah. But so what makes Mr. Cam Scott authentic, and what makes your story stand out?
I think that what makes my story stand out is I'm the same. I'm the same, and I don't. When I get in a room, I don't change for anything. I don't try to be something I'm not. If I don't know something, I ask. If I do know something, I share. And I think that everyone will tell you around me that has been in my circles, I'm the same, and there's nothing. I hold people accountable to what they say they want. I hold myself accountable to what I say I want, and um, I think that in itself makes a person authentic.
Ooh, accountability is a big thing, y'all. Let them know about accountability because it's like everybody likes to be held except for accountable.
Yep,
Like, like it's so that's like one of those rare traits. Like, oh, they could take accountability. Best
that
here for it.
that's something I could have in my life right there. There you
Hey, but that's real right there. That's real deep right there. So it's
go.
real.
I mean, that's to me, that's all I want around me. So I don't want people where I gotta question their motives or question their focus or anything like that. In order to do something amazing, you have to be around people you trust and people that are consistent, people that show up. So I have to be that in order to attract that. So um, that's why I would say I'm authentic for sure.
Ooh, another drop mic moment with them gems of wisdom. Hello. Yes. So, Mr. Cam, can you tell the folks where and how they can find you and follow you if there's any upcoming events happening?
Yes. So on Instagram's probably the biggest platform I have. At it's Cam Scott, ITS, Cam Scott, and then also my businesses, Vidport Sports at Vidport Sports, and then at Athlete Creator Lab. If you're an athlete, if you are college, high school athlete, girl, boy, tall, short, doesn't matter. We want you in the community. We want you building, and join like-minded individuals. All right, so that's what it's about. Is joining like-minded individuals, and being able to have that support system. And speaking on that mental health side is like when you're around people that are building and doing the same things and struggling with the same problems, you get there a lot faster. So don't try to do it alone. Do it with Athlete Creator Lab, and you'll get it done. You'll get it done. So,
Y'all
uh,
heard it from him first. Y'all be sure to follow him at It's Cam Scott, ITSKAMSCOTT. Yeah, I
we
did
go.
that. Double T.
There we go.
So follow him and follow Vid Sports and follow Athlete Creator Lab. Y'all, if you are an athlete, college and high school, and you want to learn more about how to create content and NIL and all things, how to make amazing content, hello, brand deals, follow him, Athlete Creator Lab. Now, it's amazing though, y'all. It's amazing information. So, and knowledge is key. Knowledge is key. You know, knowledge is power, y'all. So, big
There
shout
we
out
go.
to Cam Scott for sharing your story. And if you make sure to tune in to the live replay of Bonafide Her Podcast, episode 175, featuring Cam Scott. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.